Welcome to today's deep dive. Today we're looking at a pretty fascinating clash. It's the human drive to win and dominate versus radical spiritual surrender.
Yeah, it's a tension that defines so much of human history, honestly.
Yeah.
And our focus for this exploration is a highly thought-provoking 2026 Lenten sermon. It was delivered by Pastor Sung No at Praise Presbyterian Church,
Right.
titled The Trace He Left 3, The Sword.
Okay, let's unpack this. The sermon starts by looking at the Bible's first recorded song. And interestingly, it isn't a hymn of praise or some beautiful melody. Right, it's actually Lamech's Song of the Sword. It is this gruesome, arrogant declaration where Lamech basically boasts that if anyone even scratches him, he'll exact a 77-fold revenge. Just a terrifying manifesto of violence.
What's fascinating here is how that ancient, brutal text is directly connected to our lives right now in 2026. Because we really like to think we've evolved past Lamech.
Totally.
We have self-driving cars and advanced AI mapping out our schedules and incredibly sophisticated tech. But underneath that polished surface, the human logic remains fiercely rooted in the survival of the fittest. The tools have changed, but the base instinct hasn't.
That brings up a great point about what we use to survive today. You listening right now probably aren't carrying an actual metal blade to the office.
I would certainly hope not.
Right, we all have our modern swords, though. We use university degrees or wealth, our professional networks, or even social media follower accounts to dominate the competition.
Or, we weaponize a passive-aggressive email.
Oh, yeah, CCing the boss just to win an argument.
Exactly. Those are the everyday weapons we wield to make sure we come out on top. There's a brilliant psychological point made here about why we feel the constant need to arm ourselves.
The theological root of it.
Right. When looking at the fall of humanity, it's framed not simply as breaking a cosmic rule, but as humans choosing to become their own gods.
And the moment we decided we were in charge of our own destiny, we severed that relationship with the ultimate provider.
We lost our perfect security. We inherited the exhausting, terrifying anxiety of having to protect ourselves 24/7. Fundamentally, we arm ourselves because we are afraid.
And that fear-based instinct you just mentioned completely collides with reality during the climax of this sermon, which takes place in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Because Lent is traditionally a season of reflection and sacrifice.
Exactly. The text uses this moment right before Jesus' crucifixion as the ultimate test. A mob armed with clubs and swords shows up to arrest Jesus.
And his disciple Peter draws a literal sword.
And cuts off a man's ear. But honestly, isn't Peter's reaction completely relatable? If an armed mob comes after someone you love, your first instinct is to defend them. It feels weird to call that a flaw.
It is entirely relatable, which is exactly why Jesus' response is so incredibly countercultural. He immediately orders Peter to put the sword away.
Even though he had the power to fight back.
Right. And what's crucial to understand is that he isn't acting out of weakness or submission to the mob. The text reminds us that Jesus explicitly states he could summon 12 legions of angels right then and there.
That's over 72,000 troops.
But he intentionally chooses powerlessness. He demonstrates that empires built on swords, whether we're talking about Rome or Napoleon, inevitably collapse. Yet the cross, a symbol of ultimate radical surrender, endures thousands of years later.
So what does this all mean? The takeaway is that true faith isn't about praying for the power to win the rat race.
No, it's not asking for a sharper sword or a better LinkedIn title to defeat your rivals.
True faith is actually asking for the courage to serve, the willingness to lose, and the strength to keep our swords firmly in their sheaths.
This raises an important question. How do we actually survive in a hyper-competitive world without our weapons? The challenge here is to fundamentally shift our legacy.
Instead of leaving behind cuts from our swords.
Right? Those arguments we won or people we stepped over, we are asked to leave traces of love. It's about choosing a logic of sacrifice over a logic of dominance.
So the next time you're in a tense meeting at work or having a heated argument at home and you feel that familiar urge to use your leverage, your status, or your sharpest words to win the fight, recognize that impulse.
That is you reaching for your sword.
And we want to leave you with this final thought to mull over. If the idea of completely laying down your personal swords, your defensive arguments, your status, your financial safety nets feels utterly terrifying to you,
what does that deep panic reveal about who or what you are truly trusting to protect you every day?